With the coronavirus pandemic sweeping the globe, the town of Wilton was certainly not excluded from completely altering the image of daily life. Upon the announcement of the first COVID-19 patient in Connecticut residing in Wilton, schools were shut down rapidly and quickly replaced with online learning. This step was a critical action needed to protect the most vulnerable in our community. However, these changes made a strong impact on students, most significantly the graduating class of 2020. My name is Dalton DiCamillo, and in response to the global pandemic, I teamed up with the Wilton Historical Society to survey the perspectives and opinions of the Wilton class of 2020. While in the moment, the coronavirus seems just like a harsh reality we must all face, history is happening in real time, and it is important that the stories of the graduating class are documented. On Sunday, March 8, 2020, the first positive case of COVID-19 in Connecticut happened to come from our own town of Wilton. School officials worked quickly to determine the proper response to the situation, and on Wednesday, March 11th, Wilton Public Schools were officially canceled. In turn, physical classes were swapped for online classes, labeled as e-learning. In-person lectures were replaced with Zoom meetings, and assessments were exchanged for online standard checks. The senior class is well versed in technology, yet many still found it challenging to adapt to the new change. It's definitely upsetting, as this semester is the time where things really start to wind down and you start all of the senior year activities you wait so long for. Although it's upsetting, it's so crucial that we are absent from school to stop the spread. I found it really helpful not to dwell on the fact that I'm not in school because it will just make me upset, and there's nothing I can do about it. Technology has been a part of my schooling since about 7th grade. Using websites and apps such as Google Classroom have been important to in-class learning. Using this from home, however, has been much more difficult because you do not have the option to go to a teacher's classroom during a free period to ask questions. The same level of connection between teachers and students has definitely not been met. However, it was a hard process we all had to go through. In the same way, being able to talk to our friends only through technology was a challenge, as it can never compare to our everyday interactions being together in person. In response to these struggles, school policies were adjusted further to provide students the best education experience. The fourth quarter of the school year was made pass-fail, and deadlines were made flexible to accommodate the struggles associated with COVID-19. Despite the unprecedented circumstances, teachers and students were still able to pull together and continue their education in a new and meaningful way. Although some students assumed that they would not be returning to school anytime soon, many still hoped that in-person classes would resume in time for long-awaited senior events. On May 5th, Governor Ned Lamont announced that all K-12 public schools would remain closed for the rest of the year, stating, "We see a continuing increase in infections in many regions of the state, and this was no time to take that risk." This new reality struck the senior class hard, and as a result, many students found ways to cope with the thought that the peak of their high school experience would never be the same. I have started to exercise more, especially outside, to get fresh air. I've also started baking and cooking a lot. I find both of these things stimulating and relaxing, and will definitely be more mindful to do these things as often as I can. I have been taking care of myself more by spending more time with my family and having mini conferences with my mom, like therapy, and me doing the same for her. I started to read more books so I could stop being on my phone all day. I will continue because I bought a lot of books that I can't wait to read. Despite having their senior year hijacked, students were able to fill their time in quarantine with activities to help cope with the effects of the global pandemic. As the harsh reality of the cancellation of senior year sunk in, seniors were left asking one question: what will happen to the much anticipated senior year events? It became clear quickly that senior prom, a highly held rite of passage, likely would not happen. But what of graduation and the post-graduation party? After much deliberation, PGP, a senior class gathering designed to help graduates celebrate their accomplishments in a safe and substance-free way, was completely canceled, adding fire to the frustration sweeping seniors and their parents. This inevitable disappointment, combined with limited communication regarding the actual graduation ceremony, created a tense environment when the Wilton High School student government finally announced that graduation would be in a car procession format. Many students and parents opposed the student government's proposal, and a petition was created by Wilton High School senior parents asking for graduation to be postponed to June 20th, when outdoor events of 50 people were permitted to gather. The parents proposed that the senior class be split up into smaller groups, so that students and parents could still experience a traditional graduation while adhering to the Connecticut state guidelines. Debate between those who supported the petition and those defending the original plan reached a fever pitch, prompting even the Wilton news site Good Morning Wilton to organize an interview with the class government to defuse the situation. Ultimately, friction lessened, and Wilton High School chose to execute their original plan, yet frustration still remained in students over how their senior year events were impacted. Graduation has not been dealt with appropriately. Students constantly argue over what we should do, and it is tearing the senior class apart when graduation should have brought us together. They should have waited until we could have held a proper graduation. I feel like they could have done better with the graduation, but I understand the circumstances and that they tried their hardest. I think it's just unfair to all the seniors that we can't have a real graduation. The whole PGP cancellation was not really appropriate. I feel like they could have looked into it more. I think people have done the best they can, and there is no rule book for this kind of situation. It is still disappointing to have so many events canceled and taken away, and I think direct communication with the senior class could have been improved as our parents received most of the information when it directly impacted us. Although the end of the academic year was frustrating for many seniors, it was also a time of strength and kindness. While faced with a global pandemic, an alternative education, and an absence of senior events, the graduating class still found time to give back to their community through acts of charity and service. I have worked at a grocery store as an essential worker, and it was very busy and hard during the pandemic, so I had to work extra hours and put in more effort, but it was good to help others when they needed it most. I decorated paper bags with my family to be used to deliver meals to healthcare workers. We have also done our part to remain socially distanced and always wear masks in public to minimize the spread. I've written a few articles on the impact of coronavirus, how to stay positive and keep things in perspective to help calm people. In addition to these acts of kindness, the senior class has also remained hopeful for their future post-graduation plans. Seniors have kept faith that they will emerge from the coronavirus pandemic stronger than ever before, and look forward to their futures at university and in the corporate world. This summer, I won't be going on vacation with my family. I won't be able to see some of my relatives that were going to come visit, and hanging out with my high school friends for the last time will be hard. Next year, I'll be attending college, which will definitely look forever than what I originally expected. Overall, I think the pandemic will change us all in the world forever. Whether my college will be opening in the fall is still up in the air, but I know the coronavirus will not be forever, and that I still have plenty of time to make new friends and memories, even if I have to wait. This event has changed my plans for the summer in a surprisingly positive way. This summer, I have, pending certain decisions, a real opportunity to watch sports and be at work at the same time. In terms of the future, I might just push everything back 1 year and then reset. The Wilton High School graduating senior class certainly bared a myriad of emotions, with school closings, online learning, and senior event cancellations. After all they have been through, what was their main takeaway from this pandemic? Students were asked what they would tell their ancestors or grandchildren about their experience dealing with COVID-19. No matter how angry or sad you may be at someone, you never know if you'll be able to see them again or get time to make up for it. This is a short time but feels like forever, but hardships pass sooner than you think. When plans become canceled, do something in order to change your life through art. Just like many other pandemics, this one made us stronger and more brave. We were still united even though we couldn't physically be, and this generation was one of the kindest and strongest. Despite so many factors leaning against them, the senior class showcased their strength, resilience, and kindness in an uncertain and fearful time. They put aside their own plans to protect the vulnerable, overall making the Wilton community a safer and overall better place.